off around 66. High temperatures reach up to 87 tomorrow. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Currently 70.
WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station. Time now for your expanded local news. I'm Reed Kamai. The Taylorville City Council met at 7 yesterday to discuss various ordinances and different approvals. However, a key point from Monday's meeting was during the public comment portion. During the public comment section, 3 local business owners spoke out to explain that they are not satisfied with the city's reasoning or possible decision to remove the brick pavers that make up the current sidewalk on the Taylorville Town Square. The bigger public discussion was about the library board director, Ann Chandler, choosing to terminate the employment of the library director, Laura Shell Eck. During the meeting, Eck spoke up about her disappointment and how the library board was running the library. Eck stressed that the work environment was hostile and that employees were scared to raise concerns in the workplace without receiving retaliation.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Laura Shell Eck. Until recently, I had the privilege of serving as your library director of Taylorville Public Library. I stand before you tonight because what happened at our library is bigger than one person's employment. It is about the failure of a public board to understand and respect the role it has entrusted to perform. Illinois Public Library governance is very clear. The Board of Trustees is responsible for policy, financial oversight, strategic planning, and evaluating the library director. The director is responsible for managing the day-to-day operations of the library, supervising personnel, hiring and managing staff, implementing board policy, and serving the community. These roles were repeatedly ignored by the Taylorville Board of Trustees. Under the leadership of the board president, Ann Chandler, I experienced continuous micromanagement and interference in responsibilities that belong to the library director, not individual trustees. Personnel matters, staff management, administrative decisions, scheduling, and daily operations became subjects of constant interference by the board president. The board's overreach extended beyond personnel matters. I was directed to include long-term capital improvement expenses in the library's annual operating budget that I presented to the city. Despite repeatedly explaining that capital expenditures should be accounted for separately under accepted public budgeting practices. Even after multiple discussions, I was instructed to present the budget in a manner I believed was inaccurate. This not only exhibits poor governance practice for any public official, it is inconsistent with accepted Illinois library governance standards from which every library worker and trustee is to hold themselves accountable to and their libraries.
Upon the termination of Eck, 2 staff members of the library resigned immediately. One of those staff members was former youth director Audrey Miller, who also spoke during the public comments portion of the city council meeting. Miller asked that the city seriously examine how library trustees are appointed and if they have received accurate training on Illinois library governance. Miller urged the city to require periodic review of board policies by the city attorney. Miller also asked that the council hold the appointed officials accountable for their actions with the responsibility and authority appointed to them.
Hello, I'm Audrey Miller. I'm the former Youth Services Coordinator at Taylorville Public Library, and I'm going to continue what my former director is saying. I ask that the city seriously examine how library trustees are appointed and whether they are receiving adequate training on Illinois library governance. The distinction between governance and administration, the Illinois Open Meetings Act, applicable Illinois labor law and employment law, and the legal responsibilities of serving on a public board. I also urge the city to require periodic review of board policies by the city attorney to help ensure that policies and board actions comply with state law and that no city-appointed board adopts or enforces practices that conflict with Illinois labor law and exceed its legal authority. I'm not asking the city to simply look at what happened to us. I'm asking you to look at the pattern. Laura Shell is the 3rd director to serve under the same board president in fewer than 9 years. Before that, the library had 1 director for more than 20 years. I also ask that you hold appointed officials accountable when they repeatedly exceed the authority entrusted to them.
There was also a member of the community, Kayla McGraw, who spoke to represent the 508 residents who signed a petition demanding accountability from the Library Board of Trustees. According to McGraw, in the time that Eck was director of the library saw nothing but growth, and that during Eck's 1 year of being the library director, the community has become more involved in the library. McGraw also noted that the Library Board of Trustees terminated Eck with no formal charges filed or any evidence given that she violated library policy.
That disconnect resulted in the unanimous closed-door termination of Director Eck without any formal charges filed or any evidence given that she violated library policy. They offered no transparency and ignored the taxpayers who showed up to support the impact that she has had on the library. The community deserves to know why the director who was demonstratingly succeeding and who had the full support of her community and staff was let go. The impact was immediate. Following the director's termination, the library's full-time assistant director and the youth service coordinators, who are both key members of leadership and the service team, resigned in solidarity. If this board truly cares about policy and procedure, they should follow it themselves. Despite monthly reminders from the director, only 3 board members had actually completed their required Open Meetings Act training prior to June 25th. If they expect their staff to adhere to the strictest standards, they must be held to those same standards themselves. A board that neglects its own mandatory training while firing staff for imaginary infractions is not a board that is fit to lead.
Prior to the public comment section, the meeting's regular agenda items were discussed. Among those agenda items were various ordinances that required approvals. The first ordinance discussed was making appropriations of $1.5 million to defray the expenditures of the city of Taylorville. This appropriation was approved across the board. The next item under ordinance was the approval of amending Section 921 of Chapter 2 of Title 9 of the Taylorville City Code. This amendment would add the 2026 update of the NFPA 855 Life Safety Code. To learn more about this specific city code, see our story online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and click the link provided. This motion was also approved 8-0. The board also discussed approving the execution of a Business Development District No. 1 redevelopment agreement by and between the city of Taylorville and David Brummer of 137 East Vine Street, Will Bland and Courtney Bland of LOV Properties, and Robert Geckner and Geckner Incorporated. These 3 redevelopment agreements were approved 8-0 with Mayor Berry as the deciding vote. However, there was a redevelopment agreement as well that was by and between the city and Beckham Letniku, which passed 7-1 with Alderwoman Megan Bryant voting no. The motions to approve the special events permits for the annual Old Timers Boogie, the graduation parade, and the homecoming parade were all approved 7-0. The council also heard from Ted Bailey of Bailey Energy Group, who gave a short update on energy renewal pricing.
All right, I'll make this kind of short and sweet. We got a contract that's coming up due in November. The next 3 months is our summer months. So once we kind of get out of that, my role is going to be where I'm going to kind of just babysit this per month to kind of see how the prices are basically taken care of as far as what we're doing. We've got it right now where it's going to be pretty hot. My thoughts are going to be early October before we get into November, because it's when your doors are open and your windows are open, that's the time to get something inked in. So if we start looking at these prices right now, I can send something to the mayor once a month, a couple of weeks, whatever he wants to do, just to kind of see how things are trending. I think more than likely it's going to be that early October before we lock that price in. Page 2 on this is the big issue. It is extremely high as far as prices are going. In every meeting I'm having right now, they're asking, why are these prices going up? You got this artificial intelligence stuff. You got all these old lines from back in the 1960s as far as transmissions and stuff goes. They are now fixing all that kind of stuff. Everybody's seeing these 8 turbines, all these solar arrays, everything that's out there that is costing more money for individuals, whether it be the city or someone else who's got their own business. That's one of the things that we're really starting to see right now. So that's where I'm trying to tell you right now, saying I think for the next 3 months, I want to go ahead and get some prices back to you just so we can kind of see how things are trending. If it's not doing too bad and we're doing it through December, we might see where something dropped for some reason and the prices might be good at that time. I would get a hold of the mayor, you guys would sit down and talk, and I could say, I would recommend we do this, or if we don't, if these prices are trending or they're going up, I think it's going to come back to that first part of October.
Under the street and sewer portion, the motion to approve the purchase of steel wheels for the sewer camera from EJ Equipment at a cost not to exceed $3,500, a motion to approve Benton Engineering to proceed with the engineering design phase for the pavement, sidewalks, and curbs on the downtown project, as well as a motion to accept the proposal from Illinois Valley Paving of $85,078.37 for work associated with resurfacing West Main Cross from Houston Street to west of Silver Street in Taylorville, were all approved 7-0. To conclude the meeting, Mayor Bruce Berry gave his mayoral update, and the council also heard updates from the city attorney, Rocky Romano. The treasurer's report and the motion to approve the payment of bills totaling $439,373.38 were also approved 7-0. Pana has recently welcomed a new member to its police department. The Pana Board of Fire and Police Commissioners recently recommended Alexander Rogers for hire as the city's newest police officer. With approval from the Pana City Council, Rogers, a 22-year-old Pana native, was sworn in during the June 22nd City Council meeting by his mother and City Clerk Kim Toberman. Officer Rogers graduated from Pana High School in 2022 before attending Lakeland College, where he earned an associate's degree in criminal justice. After graduating, Rogers began his law enforcement career as a Pana police dispatcher in June of 2024. He later joined the Litchfield Police Department in May of 2025 after completing training at Southwestern Illinois College Police Academy, where he earned his basic law enforcement certification. Rogers has now returned home to serve the Pana community. He will complete an abbreviated field training program before beginning solo patrol duties. Pana Police Department extends a congratulations to Officer Alexander Rogers and welcome home. For information on the Pana Police Department, visit cityofpana.org/police-department. A new family nurse practitioner has joined the staff at HSHS Good Shepherd Hospital in Shelbyville. HSHS Medical Group has announced that Sarah Massey, a board-certified family nurse practitioner, is now seeing patients at the HSHS Good Shepherd Hospital Rural Health Clinic on South Pine Street in Shelbyville. Massey provides family medicine services for patients of all ages, including preventive care, wellness exams, screenings, immunizations, and treatment for acute and chronic conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. And COPD, I should say. Hospital officials say Massey focuses on clear communication, patient education, and developing care plans tailored to each patient's individual health goals and daily routines. Massey earned her family nurse practitioner certification from Bradley University and also holds a master's degree in nursing and a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Millikan University. She is board certified through the American Association of Nurse Practitioners. Appointments can be scheduled by calling 217-774-4400. New patients may also contact the HSHS Medical Group Patient Advocate Line for assistance in establishing care. A local author from Taylorville recently saw quite the accomplishment as her book found itself in the top 10,000 books on Amazon.com. The lifelong resident of Taylorville, under the pen name Genevieve Seinhardt, wrote a children's cookbook titled Learn to Read Activity Workbook, Knowledge in the Kitchen. On Amazon.com, the book received a number 3 rating in multiple children's and young adult cookbook categories. A copy of Learn to Read Activity Workbook, Knowledge in the Kitchen can be purchased directly from Amazon and is a great tool for teaching your child how to cook, especially if you are unsure where to start. The book features plenty of different ways to get your child cooking up 5-star meals, from pre-cooking prep to utensil safety. The book begins with the basics of identifying utensils and appliances. From there, your child will dive into a deep understanding of how to stay safe when in the kitchen, while also partaking in the cutout activities meant for hands-on learning. Some of the topics covered in Steinhardt's book include how to set a table, using measuring spoons and cups, weighing produce and meat, how to safely use a stove oven, how to read a meat thermometer, reading dates on food, and storing food safely. This book is set up to assist your child in being able to cook full meals safely, following cross-contamination guidelines and other best practices in the kitchen. For a link on where to purchase the book, view our story on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com or simply search Learn to Read Activity Workbook Knowledge in the Kitchen on Amazon.com. The paperback copy is currently listed at $10.75 on Amazon. It was over 20 years ago when former University of Illinois Extension staffer Dar Knipe helped launch an online local foods directory called Market Maker. You can find Market Maker at foodmarketmaker.com or also through the Illinois Specialty Growers Association at specialtygrowers.org/shop local. The dates and locations have been finalized for the Illinois Farm Bureau Young Leader District discussions this summer. Illinois Farm Bureau Young Leader Program Coordinator Perry Harlow says you can find all the district discussion meet info at ilfb.org/YL discussion meet. The Illinois Farm Bureau is celebrating 2 academic years of their Actively Engaged Student of the Month system. The program was launched in the fall of 2024. A total of 20 students have been honored, and they were recognized at a special banquet last month at the Aaron Leach Club at Illinois State University's Hancock Stadium. That recognition program is based on FFA, 4-H and county fair, IHSA, and student club and organization participation. Max Main was involved in all of that while at ROVA. He now attends Purdue University. To see all of the Illinois Farm Bureau actively engaged students of the month, visit farmweeknow.com/actively engaged. Nominations for the 2026-27 academic year open in August. Now to obituaries, which can be found at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. And there's only one to tell you about today. 79-year-old Charles R. Durbin of Taylorville died last Wednesday. A graveside service will take place at Glen Haven Memorial Gardens on Thursday at 10. Cremation rights have been accorded. Arrangements are being handled by McClure Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Taylorville. Get local news anytime at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.